So let's have a quick recap what we have learnt about kayaking and paddleboarding. I've come down to Dawlish today for a paddle. It's a beautiful sunny October day. It's more like summer actually, and the sun's right in my eyes. I'm having a look away a bit at the moment, but it's a beautiful sunny day. And we're going to recap some of the things we've learned. There's 4 things I want to talk about. There is skills and techniques. Well, that's 2. Reviewing your performance, and then lastly, the equipment we use. I'm just going to try so I can turn around a bit because that sun is right in my eyes. Now, I'm out on the water, you can see it's a beautiful calm day, but obviously I'm wearing the buoyancy aid as we always would be when we ever come out. So let's start talking about the skills. You've got your 8 skills you're going to be looking at, which are, and I'm going to see if I can remember these and go through them all. So we have got the warm-up, how to hold the paddle, getting onto your paddleboard or kayak. We've got going forwards, turning, stopping. We've got paddling 200 meters, and we've got the controlled wobble to show that you're really in control of that craft. So they're the things we're going to look at. Now, it's important you describe what they are. It's no good just saying, I paddled 200 meters. You need to talk about which stroke you used and how you did it, and exactly what it means to somebody that wouldn't know anything about it. So all these things, they need to have a description to say exactly how you did it. Another one, you could say the skill is getting onto the board, and you're going to say a bit about that. That's what we have to do at the very start. Don't go into talking about techniques in that bit. You want to talk about techniques next. So let's give a little description of what each skill is, and that's what we've learned so far. And we've also learned the techniques. The techniques are things like, okay, so if the skill is paddling forwards, how do you do that? Did you do it with a standard paddle, or did you do it with a J stroke? So you can start describing those techniques. Well, that's what we've been doing, so that's another thing we can talk about. When you were paddling, did you use, if you were on a kayak, did you use a feathered paddle? Were you using that and slipping it in your hand all the time? If you're on a paddleboard, were you standing up? Were you kneeling down? They're the sort of techniques you can talk about when you start breaking those skills down. Any other techniques we needed to look at? If you remember how you got into the boat, whether it was the paddleboard pulled up alongside the jetty, or whether you slid off and did a seal slide with your boat. And then when you turned, how do you do that? Was it a normal control turn, or were you using the dig turn, where you really stick the paddle in and go around in a circle very quickly? So that's what we're talking about with the skills and techniques. Next we need to talk about reviewing your performance. So what we need to do is think about a couple of things you've done well and a couple of things where you could improve. So if you thought, yeah, I absolutely whizzed it, I went 200 meters really easily, you could talk about that. Was there one of the strokes that you didn't quite get? Like, I could go forwards, but I couldn't quite do the J stroke, or I couldn't quite master the turn or something, or I need to work on perhaps getting out the boat, things like that. So you could talk about 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses, and that's the review we can do, okay? And the last thing we learned about was the equipment. So if you think about it, it's going to be a bit different. If you've tried paddleboarding and kayaking, you're going to have 2 sets of equipment to talk about. I'm just sitting on the sea here actually. There's a bit of a swell, I didn't even notice. Suddenly the boat goes up in the air, but it's pretty calm, so it's okay. I'm always worried about dropping the phone, because of course I'm just holding my phone over the water basically doing this, but I'll be all right. And yeah, we're going to talk about the equipment we need. So obviously the buoyancy aid, that's number 1. And then the paddle, what sort of paddle were you using? Were you using a kayak or a paddleboard? Did you use both? And that's, you might just think they're the 3 things, but of course we can also talk about what seat you used on it, the leashes and things like that. And did you wear shoes or not while you were paddling? So they're some of the things we can talk about equipment. So just to summarize what we've learned about, we have learned about skills and techniques. We've learned how to review your performance, what you did well, what could be improved, and the equipment we use. That's a quick recap for you. If you need to check in those points, maybe watch the video again. There's 2 other videos you can watch as well, where some of those skills and techniques are explained in a bit more detail. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.